All right. Recording in progress. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to November 7th MVP Office Hours. We're super glad you're here today. I'm Joy Shutters-Helbing, and I am joined by my partner in Solutions, Squire Kirshner. Squire, say hi to everybody.
Hi, Joy. Hi,
And
everybody.
it's good to see you. And we did just have a couple people pop in. This is fantastic. We are meeting today, and then our next meeting is November 21st, followed by December 5th and 19th. You can always register at our bit.ly/capital MVPOH. And that's a perpetual link that Squire keeps up to date when it's not perpetual. You can follow Squire and I on LinkedIn. Our handles are on the screen. We have an email address, but we don't recommend using it. We prefer if you send the stuff over to, what's it called? Oh, the community. And we've got a QR code for that next. Upcoming events. Well, Florida Dreamin' is still on the list because I'm still here. And but then we've got Agentforce World Tour coming through, and then TDX in April, Tableau in May, and Connections in June, and Dreamforce in September. So there are some other community conferences coming up, but we didn't quite squeeze those all in. So these are the big ones that are coming up in the next year, and then we will work on getting the community conferences tucked in after World Tour Chicago, I think, right?
Okay. Yeah, I think there's a lull at the end of the year usually anyway. So yeah, we're so good.
Yeah. All right. So next slide. All right. So the success community is your friend. If you have a question, post your question in the community, and that's the QR code. You can take a photo of it, or we have a link. Maybe Squire, you can grab that link and drop it in the chat for everybody.
You bet.
We do invite everyone to share their experience and insights and their ideas with the group. Post the links and the resources and the answers in the chat for everyone. And if you have a question, post in the chat or raise your hand, and then we will get you next in the queue. And then please, 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 we are recording the call. We are recording the call. The call is being recorded. Please do not share any private or proprietary information. We want everyone to keep their jobs. We want everyone's data to stay private the way it's supposed to. Please share sandboxes. And dev sandboxes are better, and Trailhead playgrounds are great. But also, under no circumstances, our call cannot be transcribed by AI. Thank you. We do want to have fun and stay professional, and everyone keep their jobs. And we are recording. I think we covered that, right? Okay.
Covered everything.
I feel like I repeat like broken record. Skipping.
I'm sorry, are we being recorded?
We are. And if you can't be recorded, you can catch the recordings on YouTube later.
Yep.
You're welcome to lurk and not say a word if you're not able to be recorded. So all those things. And Christy showed up. This is great. All right. So Jay, I don't know if Jay's on the call today.
I didn't see Jay, I didn't see Pat, and I didn't see Bill, but that doesn't mean they didn't sneak in on me.
That's really funny. I just saw Jay like on the 30th.
Yeah.
Because we had an in-person meeting for Chicago, and he gave me a hard time about some stuff. But we do have Steve Moe on the call who helped Jay.
Yeah, once again, saved the day.
That
was
workaround,
like a good interaction with Jay.
For adding
back
delay
like
to
a
add
bad
these.
penny.
Yeah. You know what, Steve? If you're the bad penny, I want them all. Like, I want all those bad pennies. Bring them. It's great. Square, do we have the post? And then maybe Steve, you can walk us through the solution a minute.
Yeah.
You okay with that, Steve?
Yeah.
I love putting you on the spot. Like,
I don't even know what this one is.
You answer so many questions. Yeah.
It was great. It's like starting from scratch.
Not about Apex. It has been a tough week for me and dipping my toe into the Apex waters. The water is not fine. You don't want to jump in.
All right. So here it is. So Jay's question up to the top.
And okay, I gotta say it. I get to tell my daughter I helped Jay-Z with a Salesforce question that day.
Yes, you did.
You don't have to go any farther than that.
Okay, so he says Jay says he'll be at the meeting, and I'm gonna have to give him a hard time about this one too. Okay. So can't wait to see him next. He'll be here at 1:30. So should we come back to this?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's
okay.
All right.
All right, and I'll
refresh yourself.
I'll refresh myself on that one because I vaguely remember what it was, but
That's fantastic. Is
Uh,
Pat on the call?
I
Did
didn't
anyone
see Pat join yet either, but it's awesome that Michael jumped in and tried to
That
help.
would be in the MVP, okay, the group chat. Okay,
Yep.
Yeah.
MVPR, so it's
Yeah,
chat.
and it was actually connected to the next meeting post. It wasn't a standalone, so you have to go do a little bit of digging there too. So
Okay, I'll see if I can find it.
so we can wait on Pat too.
Okay.
And so then the third one was Bill. I don't know if Bill
Bill
joined.
here on the call? No, but we can
Right.
talk about it in a minute. And then if he comes in, we'll talk about it. Okay, so
So he was having troubles removing a field from a compact layout.
mm,
And the answer was, I think what it really was, the problem was when you go through the full thread, was that the close date and the target close date, they're like the API name versus the label. There was some
confusion.
confusion there, and I don't know if anybody knows Katende, but there was a lot of going back and forth in that one too. I think there was 6 or 7 responses. So we'll see if Bill comes back. He can summarize it all. Why don't we
Do we have any questions in the chat?
I don't know. I don't know. We have lots of people. That usually means there's lots of questions or at least thoughts. So,
Okay, so Lasovia, you do have a question and you are on the line.
yeah.
Do you
Yes.
want to talk to us about your little I shouldn't say little. It looks little, but I don't think it's little.
Well, it's just, yeah, a couple people are saying they couldn't get in, but so I was in the connected apps OAuth usage and setup, and I was going through revoking users because what was happening is they had a loophole where they went to IT and requested a Salesforce connector, and they were connecting any app they wanted within Salesforce. So I was trying to be proactive with our security and revoking, and then I also revoked the App Exchange as well. And then for something that I wasn't sure about, I accidentally pressed the revoke link. But that now they're saying they can't log back in. But I see someone saying that they need to log back in, but they're not able to get in. So I'm not sure if there's like another way, or if I need to, I don't know.
Yeah.
Install.
There's a lot to unpack there. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe
Linda's ready.
Linda's ready.
Yeah, Linda's ready. Let's start at the top and make sure we talk about all of the things. So
Yeah.
Okay.
so first of
So-
all, do you have access before you jump in?
Uh-huh.
There's a full write-up on Salesforce and Knowledge about that September 1 OAuth connected app changeover that could or should help. Do you have that one handy?
I think so. I did something similar. I did install the app for other apps, and then I made the special permissions, and that was fine. And then I also made a permission set that says in the user permission for OAuth access. I did that. That's fine, but I guess for this one, I don't see that I don't want to install this app. I'm trying
Okay.
to, yeah.
Perfect. I'm going to hand off to Linda. I just want to make sure you had that article because it does cover, and anyone who's not sure what we're talking about, there was a change on I think it rolled out on the 1st of September that users can't automatically connect to uninstalled apps unless you've configured it as such or given them a permission. But let's jump over to Linda and go from there.
Okay, so the basics are that if you want a regular user to be able to connect to an OAuth app, you either have to pre-authorize them, meaning maybe you try connecting to the app so that you can install it and then create profiles and permission sets. You as an admin, you would have to have that admin profile. Or you can create a permission set. There are 2 system permissions that have to be included in that permission set for a user to be able to connect to, but it gives them broad access to connect to connected apps. So you want to use it sparingly with other users.
Yeah, I made that for I think it was a LinkedIn Navigator, because we're not using the installed package, we're using the uninstalled. So it needs that for when you're doing
Right. So
like,
but you've installed that app and you've allowed it anyone who's not, whether they're authorized or not, then.
yeah, only the people that are using LinkedIn Navigator have the OAuth option because it's not an installed app. It's a, what can I say? Yeah, it's
not-
just yeah, you have the option of making it an installed app or it just like floating, and it's because you're using Inbox and God, what's it called? Sales engagement.
There might be something else that connects that one that isn't exactly the connected app. Cause like for our org, I have not installed like the TBID for Trailhead, but people can still connect to that one because it's Salesforce owned, which is interesting in itself. But other ones like our LinkPoint software, I had to install that and grant access, leave it with anyone can authorize so that new users can get connected to it automatically. But another app like our GearSet implementation, I have blocked it to only pre-authorized users, created a permission set, and then users get added to that permission set.
Okay, I think that might be, I might have to install it myself first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you install and then decide later, hey, I don't want people using this, at that point, block it. Don't just uninstall, block it.
Oh, I love blocking. It's been fun. Thank you.
You bet. I just want to make sure. So you went into OAuth settings and just said block their connection, right? You like hit that little button at the far right.
No, I went into the
No,
to
there's
and then I pressed revoke
You
individual.
revoked. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Because I believe if you block it by user at the OAuth level, they just have to then re-allow if you haven't blocked them completely. So I just wanted to make sure I understood.
Right, but blocking is only allowed at the app level.
Right.
You can revoke a user, but if they try again, if they have rights to be able to connect, they'll be able to.
Yep.
If, however, you've revoked them and you have not installed the app, and they do not have those two, either of those two system permissions, they're not going to be able to reconnect.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And that system, that new system permission only popped up with that September release.
One
right?
of
Has it
those
been there before?
permissions. The other
One of
one
them.
was there already.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't remember the names of them off the top of my head.
So I also want to add one last thing too. So I don't know if anybody else had a similar problem, but after the winter release, but tied to that change, certain integrations, Microsoft specifically, would not reconnect to connected apps unless you extended the scope on the connected app to include, I believe it was even if you had full, you had to then also include the refresh token scope in order for those to connect. And so it looked and felt like it was that setting, but it had nothing to do with that setting. It had to do with adding a scope, and it was only that integration, which I don't know if then that trickles up into something specific to certain Azure settings, but that was the reoccurring message that was coming across in threads and in Stack Exchange and things like that. So if you have an Azure failure or a Microsoft failure due to a connected app error, and I'll try to remember the number before the call's up, it could be there as well. So don't commingle them. It's not actually an OAuth setting. It had to do with the scope change. It just felt it was like simultaneous. So anyway.
It just happens to be Microsoft product, so maybe that could be it as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all know how great Microsoft can be. So, and this is not a Microsoft MVP office hours, so we can bash them all we want. I just saw Jay join. Jay, welcome. We're gonna come back to you because you missed your opportunity. No,
That's not true. He told us 1:30. Yeah. Did you all see what showed up?
Yeah. What? What? You mean who, right? Who, what? Oh, that's kind of fun. That's
Brandy Bobblehead. Does it mind?
Apparently.
Anyway, are we ready to go through Jay's or are we gonna go through?
no, Well, yeah, why don't we jump through Jay since Steve's here? Because I know sometimes Steve's have to drop, and then we'll get to Carolyn.
Okay.
So, Jay, it looks like you had 2 questions, lots of interaction, mostly with Steve. Do you want to summarize the questions and where they ended up? And if you still need a hand, would you mind doing that?
Sure. So this was on, the field is called related owner record. I don't know why, but it's always, that's hard for me to remember. But it is a standard field that appears on standard campaign reports. It doesn't appear on on the back end. So it's kind of I've never seen it before, but it is handy because if you have a campaign with campaign members, and you want to see the owner of the record that's related to the campaign. So whether it's a contact, lead, or if you have person accounts, whatever, you can see the type of owner and the type of record and the owner of that record. I have a custom report type for campaigns with campaign members, and that field wasn't appearing. And
Yeah, so little background. This is one of those little nuggets of buried report and dashboard treasure. Salesforce has a whole bunch of these things scattered throughout the objects. And I call them report only fields. Like, they don't show up when you go into the object. They don't get listed as a standard field. But when you go into the report builder, they are listed as a standard field, but they only exist within the context of the report. So there's another one that's one of my favorites. Like, there are like 3 or 4 different permutations or copies of the standard close date on an opportunity when you're in an opportunity report. There's close date 2, and they say the sequel is never as good as the original, but it actually is in this case. Close month, close year, fiscal period. These are all permutations of the close date that allows you to do multiple groupings of an opportunity report, like group it by the year and then the month within that year for a side-to-side chart or something like that. So what Jay's describing is one of these little nuggets, in that in a standard plain vanilla off-the-shelf campaigns with campaign members report, Salesforce knows that a campaign member can be a lead, can be a contact, can be a lead that eventually gets converted into a contact. So they bake in what type of a person is this? Are they a lead? Let's display the word lead. If they're a contact, show the word contact. Oh, maybe somebody running this report would want to know who owns that record. So they give you the lead owner and the contact owner. But what Jay ran into, and myself have run into thousands of times, you go into custom report type and you start to roll your own, all those magic baked in fields go away. And the only solution is to roll your own manually with a formula field, and in this case, you would create it on the campaign member object. And so, but now you get the problem is, Salesforce knows that a lead can become a contact, or a campaign member could be a lead or a contact and all that stuff. So they bake all this stuff in. But when you got to create your own formula field, you've got to deal with that math, for lack of a better word. And so what I ended up doing was a formula that uses one of my favorite hidden formula function called blank value. And what it does is, it's the write-up on it in the online help is a little bit tricky. It's like it's almost written like pig Latin. But what it basically does is it evaluates a field you pointed at. And if that field is not blank, it uses the value in that field. But if that field is blank, you have the option of providing a substitute to use instead of the blank field. And that substitute can be another field, or a formula, or a hard-coded value. And so, because this campaign member record there's a field on it for the lead ID and a field on it for the contact ID, and that gives you a lookup into that lead record and into that contact record. But again, it might be a lead today, it might get converted into a contact later today, next week, next month, maybe never. So what I did is I evaluated the contact ID field on the campaign member record. If it's blank, I go to the lead owner field and return first, not the lead owner's name, but because a lead could also be owned by a queue, I evaluate the lead owner queue name. If that's blank, my blank value function then goes to the lead owner user first name and owner last name field and returns them. If those are both blank, so it's not a lead, it's not owned by a person or a queue, then it has to be a contact, in which case just give me back the contact owner's first name and last name. And I'll paste the formula into the chat. And actually, like, you know, for Jay, we created a singular formula field to do this, but in my org, because I already ran into this issue, I created 2 fields on my campaign member object, returning either the lead owner's name, or if it's a contact, the account owner's name. So I'll drop those into the chat here. This is the one I'm posting in right now. Oh, sorry, I posted to just Squire. Oh, sure.
I like it too. It's special for me too.
There it is. So it's in the chat. So here it's got one if statement. If the contact ID is blank, then go through that lead lookup field and return the queue name. If the queue name is blank, then that means that it must be owned by a user. So then give me that user's first name and last name. If that's blank, well, then it has to be owned by a contact, and contacts can't be owned by queues. So just give me the contact owner first name and last name with a blank space. And for the user names, you have to put a blank space in between the two. That's what that plus single quote blank space single quote plus sign is. And as me and Jay said in our dialogue in the thing, I'm a plus minus guy, single quotes. Ampersand and double quotes work just as well. It's just personal preference when you're writing formulas. Only thing I say is don't mix and match ands and ors with double ampersands, double pipes. Because then for the next admin who has to try and read that, it's like reading, you're trying to bake a cake and half the recipe is in metric units and half the recipe is imperial, and it flips back and forth between the two. And you've never made that cake before. So you know, just don't mix and match.
The other thing to keep in mind is, so I also found that I can add like the lead owner and have that be one column, and I can add contact owner and have that be a separate column. But obviously now you're dealing with more space
and you know, like you know, you've got a max. I ran into this in another question a couple weeks ago. You know, those row and column groupings, those are a precious commodity. Standard reports, you're only getting 3 row groupings, and only if you have 0 column groupings. And if you have column groupings, you've got a maximum of 2 rows and 2 columns. They're a precious commodity. And I'm sure we've run pipeline reports where it's like, we want to see it by industry and by vertical and by product and by the owner's team or this or that. It's like, okay, that's it. You're all out of column groupings. Sorry. If you want to see it grouped a different way, you've got to give up one of those column groupings or one of those row groupings. So being able to consolidate create a formula field that consolidates into one, that gives you back one of those precious row or column groupings in the report. But users don't want to hear that. They want it sliced and diced 17 different ways.
Also true. So Jay, your question had 2 pieces and that all got resolved with that conversation. Is that true?
Yep.
Cool. All right. And I forgot to look, you gave it the thumbs up for the best answer, right? Cool.
Yes.
Awesome. Appreciate it. If you want to see that whole exchange, it's in our success.
Yep.
Awesome.
And tell Beyonce Steve Mo said, hey.
Always. Always.
Thank you. All right. And thanks, Steve, for jumping in and helping.
No problem.
So I want to jump back to Carolyn, who had a question or a follow-up question, I should say, about a solution not being Apex effectively. Is that, would it make sense to give us the rundown there, Carolyn?
Sure. Basically, what I have is a user wants to be able to, and I should preface this by saying I'm not that familiar with email to case, and this falls into that category, but the user, rather than use the normal behavior of email to case, they want to be able to send an email regardless of whether there's a thread ID in it or not, and have it all go to one parent case, if you will. And what I tried to do was to do a before save record triggered flow on the email message that would take it and kind of look and say, okay, I'm creating this case, but oh no, I need to put it now with this case, or take my email and put it to this parent case. It would be hard coded into the flow, which I think would have been doable, but there is a field on the email message object called parent case. And it's a lookup field to a user, or yes, a lookup field to a case that is not visible for me in Flow. I can't get to it. And I don't know if it's kind of like the sort of thing that Steve Mo was talking about, like it's visible in one place and not in the other, but I can't use it. And so I tried like doing it with related to ID, and that didn't work. I'm trying to avoid Apex, like I'm trying to avoid the plague. And it seems to be that might be the only thing. I was just hoping maybe somebody here would have an idea.
With parent ID and you can't update it.
Correct. I can't even find it.
Right, but it cannot be updated. So once Salesforce writes it on the email message, you cannot change it. Period. Exclamation point. End of sentence.
Okay.
So if you check, so I will paste this in here. This is the object reference on DeveloperForce or developersalesforce.com. And if you find that parent ID field, you'll see the properties do not include the ability to update the field. Therefore, you can't change it.
Okay, I actually came across this when I was going through, and there was something that I was trying to look. Oh no, this was not the same one. I'm sorry, this isn't the same one. Well, so if I can get that parent ID,
I
then
can't even do it in Apex.
This is the opposite of all those super helpful baked
This
in
is the
report
not
fields.
helpful ever.
Well, and this is one that, like along with like the where is this field used button and stuff like that, this would be really helpful on the field properties at the field level. It should be a column in the object field manifest. Like, like this field is indexed. This field has field history tracking on it. Hey, Salesforce, do you want to give me a heads up that I will never, ever, ever in a billion years try as hard as I might with every tool at my disposal, ever be able to update this field instead of having me futilely try with all my might to update this field? A little checkbox goes a long way. That's something that in setup and config should be addressed. Like, give us the real field properties on every single field.
Yeah, that would be
So,
pretty.
I mean,
Without having to crawl
can't do
through
this
the
through
quagmire
Apex.
of developerforce.com documentation.
The most I might be able to do in Apex would be create a new record and then delete this one out. But I don't really want to do that, especially if I'm bringing this email in from somewhere else.
What is
So
the
ba-
requirement?
The requirement is that all cases, or excuse me, all emails coming from either an internal or external source route to one case under an account. And I don't know why exactly he wants it to look that way. I think partially because our cases sometimes can be open for a year. It's a highly technical solutions that they're providing. And so they want everything nestled in one place.
So
And so the idea is to have it all regardless of, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
so just want to make sure I'm envisioning this, what they want. They want to be able to click on the ultimate parent case within that account and see all the emails that have ever been associated with any subsidiary case.
Correct.
Could you create, I know it's talk about precious commodities, an additional lookup case field on the activity object and drop the parent case ID into that custom lookup field and display it as a separate related list on that parent case?
Yeah, that's actually a great thought. The one thing I will say
Hold on a
is
sec. Hold
that
on a sec. This day in history, November 7th, 2025.
Wait,
That's
wait,
a great
but-
song.
We are
But these
recording.
are-
Describe
You
something
can
that
always
came out of
reference
my
this.
mouth.
But these are email messages, not activities.
Ooh, damn it.
Sorry. You
Email
know, I
Womp
love you,
womp.
Steve Mo.
I thought email messages
Oh.
were activities. They're
So,
just not
no,
quite
the-
tasks.
Email messages live in email message. They may also create a task record, but they do not always create a task record.
I still saw where Steve
Oh.
Mo was going with it though, right? Because if there's a case, what is the earliest created case on an account if they only want one? And then
Right.
that becomes the parent case to however many cases are underneath it.
Becomes the ultimate parent case. Yeah.
Right, but your activity timeline does not work in the way where it says
Yeah, 'cause
automatically show me all the things
This is
under
a
this.
this would be a custom related list.
But it is kind of what they're asking for, right? They're not looking at the timeline. They just want the activity. Not the activity, but
Well,
They
they
want
want
everything
they
rolled up,
want
right?
the activity of all the children.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, you might be able to do that through a related list on the dynamic.
Or are they really gonna read these activities, or do they just want to see like the level of activity? Would an embedded report chat on that account or on that ultimate parent case? I don't even know if you could do get a case activity report that rolls up to that ultimate parent. But like again, if they want to see the actual activity records, you're probably looking at some sort of a custom lookup field that connects that ultimate parent case ID to all those related activities. But if you are talking about hundreds of activity records over the years, months, whatever, are they really going to look at them? In that case, it'd be like, well, if they just want to see like how many emails got logged, how many meetings were had, how many calls, how many were resolved and are still open, things like that, report chart might be the way to go, assuming that such a report could be built and displayed on it.
I think in this case, they're going to be looking at each one of these emails.
Then, yeah, so now we're at, can we engineer a lookup field?
So in theory, you can add a custom field to email message.
Ooh.
So
But
you can add a custom field, the email message object. I just can't remember if that's allowed to be a lookup or not, but the idea that it could be a lookup to case, and then you could populate that with the ID of the parent level case, which depending on how deep children get, you may need some Apex to do that.
Well,
Or
but
can I-
doesn't this put it right back into the problem of like, but it's no longer a email message relationship, so it wouldn't look like an email message. It would just look like a related list of something else.
But you could put the email
Ooh.
message related
I mean,
object list in that Flexa page based on that field being the connection field.
Uh,
Because it's a lookup field. if
I'm
you
in
can do
my
it as a
I'm in
lookup
my
field.
dev org on the standard email message object, create a little custom lookup field, and I'm able to select related to case object.
Yep. Michael beat you to it, but
I just
you guys are
love
better
that
than
like
one.
that Michael and Steve both just like race to get to their dev orgs to see that they can do it.
I was gonna say I thought I've done this before, but it's been a little while.
Oh, I love this
I
place.
mean, this is my OG 2004 dev org. I'm surprised it even has the email message object in it.
Because
Oh,
you
no,
get,
there are
you
things
get
I
all the
cannot
new
turn on.
stuff.
There are things in setup and config that do not exist.
Ours
Yeah,
is from
so-
like 2005, and that's kind of the same issue.
There's gonna be things. Oh my goodness. Carolyn, do you feel equipped to move the dial forward on your project?
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna go with
Mhm.
the creating the lookup field, and then I may be back in a couple weeks with a follow up. But
Yeah,
no,
I
thank
love
you.
it. I
Thank
love
you.
it. And
Much
the record
appreciated.
we'll like badger Squire to get the recording up as soon as possible so you don't have to remember any of this today.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I definitely will be listening to it again. But no, thank you
Yeah.
all very much.
Before we go to Michael, who had questions an hour ago, I do want, yeah, didn't you ask something about email respond and opt out? Wasn't that you? Okay.
We'll have to
Who,
look in the
me?
chat. No, Michael, I think.
But I do want to make a really quick call out, specifically, maybe not for this group, but anybody who's watching it afterwards. Two things we zipped right past that I think are really critical. So first of all is the formula best practices and the formula documentation. Those are our best
Mm.
friend documents. If you aren't using that regularly to do things like to the answer that you saw, or don't we all want this hat? It's pretty great. But like I just had a conversation with one of my admins about the value of a case statement versus nested ifs, and they didn't even know a case was an option. So like take that to heart, that document and those best practices are really awesome. Similarly, that dev doc that Linda brought up, the metadata API documentation for every object and the properties of every attribute, like that should be your go-to anytime anybody sees. If you're seeing something that doesn't make sense, go there. It'll tell you exactly why it doesn't make sense or why it's missing or why an API is like. Those should be like, I think they should be in your favorites bar. There should be okay, I'm just gonna say it. There should be a Salesforce important stuff bookmark in your bar, and it should have the order of execution and that doc, the data API and the
Hey.
formula doc. And
Hey, Squire,
yeah.
we can put this in a post.
Okay, cool. Anyway, that should be your list. I'll stop talking. Let's go to who had the question about email?
Oh, and Squire,
Yo.
the link to MVP office hours sign up should be in that list.
Oh, that's smart. God, see, this is why we have you here.
We'll put the list together. We'll push it out in our little community space and in the LinkedIn space and all that good stuff. Maybe we'll put it on the back of those shirts, Squire.
That's awesome. Love it. Love it.
All right. Do we have another question?
Oh, you know what it was? I thought you commented, Michael, about email bounce date, email bounce reason. I think you were supporting a conversation that wasn't a question.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, if you have a question and you're on the phone, you raise your hand, speak up, come off mute, say hi. Hi, Martin. It's good to see you. Jay, I'm glad you're here. I gave you some razzle dazzle before you got here.
Thank you.
Martin does have a question.
I heard it
Right?
all on the other side of the cyber internet.
No other questions?
I
Go
did
ahead,
have
Jay.
I did have another question. My second question.
Martin's hand is raised though.
Yeah, we got
Wait.
Martin first. Sorry, and then we'll come back.
Martin,
Hey,
Yay.
I have been struggling with person accounts and duplicating them for organizations that have account-to-contact relationships and contact point email address and phone number. Not really working. And I'm looking for the best place to figure out how to make things work. No, not going to work. Without going to Data Cloud, right?
I don't think it can be done. No, so you're essentially talking about like you want to merge two duplicate person accounts.
And we want to have all their phone
have,
numbers come over and their relationships.
And they each have related objects that are set as unique. Yes, I raised this with the Nonprofit Cloud team well over a year ago, and they didn't have an adequate answer. You have to delete one of the two and then merge or the like.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. It's just
the hard way.
Ugly.
Yep.
Yeah. Because it's you have to do it for relationships, and then you have to go and do it for your contact point emails, and then your contact point phones, and then your contact point addresses,
and your donor gift summaries, and any other extension stupid objects they stupidly built.
All of those things. Yeah.
So contacts can't be merged, and then the person accounts merged after that?
No, because it's a forced one-to-one relationship that is very sticky and weird.
Because of that weird hybrid of the
right.
The way a person account is actually a contact and an account and also a person account, right? Like that's where it falls apart.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's other stuff with it too. So if you turn that on later and they have different owners listed, you have to fix that too.
Oh, I didn't like that answer, Martin. I'm sorry.
No, I wasn't. I did not have high hopes. Mostly it was sharing pain and seeing if anything's changed. Thank you.
We feel your pain.
Michael, is that in the ID exchange at all for a fix on that, or is that just a known issue?
I don't recall.
Okay.
But I don't think Salesforce has any intention of fixing it.
Ew, fine.
So if you don't mind my asking, because I've never been fortunate enough to deal with nonprofit, so it still identifies the duplicate, but you can't do a merge. Is that effectively what happens?
Correct.
You can do the merge.
When
you can do the merge. You just lose your related records from the non-master file.
Oh,
the related meaning like the actual child or the relation?
Contact point emails and relationships. Yeah.
Some of them will prevent you from doing the merge.
Oh, okay.
So it's toward the bottom of the blog post I put in the chat. But yeah, some of their child extension objects like donor gift summary, which is where they store all the gift roll-ups. They have a enforced unique lookup field. And so if you have two contacts who each have donor gift summaries and you try to merge them, they each have a child record that cannot get merged, and it just gives you an error. We couldn't merge these accounts, duplicate value found. And then you're dead in the water, especially because most of your users wouldn't even be able to delete that child record. I mean, we admins, and you need, to Pat's point, you need modify all data to do merging anyway. But donor gift summary, the way Nonprofit Cloud has it set up by default, you can't really navigate to it, and therefore you can't, in the UI, delete it.
Sure.
Even if you know what you're trying to do, which is non-obvious from the error message.
Are you able to, I don't want to solve a problem that I don't even understand, but are you able to identify the things that are the blockers and effectively lift and shift by a flow into the master before you merge and then you don't lose anything? Or is it just too complex?
That's a great question. I think the answer is it's probably too complex. So some of those objects, some of those extension objects, like the donor gift summary, is a roll up that gets calculated, in theory, nightly. So you could just dump it and let it get recalculated later.
Okay.
But I don't think it's safe to say that would be the case for all the extension objects that might exist, in which case you would need to figure out how to properly merge their values or force them to be recalculated or whatever.
Got it.
Which could be a potentially infinite number of records.
Understood. All right. Actually, so really quickly, if there's, unless there's another comment on that question, it transitions directly into Pat's question that we didn't get a chance to start off with. And I know Jay, you said had a follow-up question about merging. There's no
There's a hand
workaround for
raised
the
too.
merge without modify all, right? That's just the nature of the beast. And so we have a persona called data steward that we grant that those are the only people that can merge because it's unlimited cosmic power.
Theoretically, the workaround is own the contact.
Oh, right.
Which obviously is an available workaround, but the people have to have the power to transfer the contact to themselves, and it's going to take them like 12 clicks.
Right.
So it's a crappy workaround.
And same true for account, right? You have to own both accounts in order to merge them as well, right? Right. So, all right. Sorry, Pat.
Oh no, there was I've kind of floated this around to the whole world, and there was a suggestion about creating an Apex blah 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 that would give them that permission for the time they're working on it, and then you do a flow, and then when you hit the button blah 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 and it does it, and then they don't have the permission for real. So I'm still like softly pushing back like no, you're not getting it.
I think most organizations say notify the admin and ask them to do the merge.
Yeah, that's probably the better way to do it, because that was in my first job at Lessonly. That's one of the things I did all the time. So this company is a lot more freer.
All right. Jay, you had a follow up, and then we got Harish in there. Can we think we can get to both?
Yes. So it's actually a separate question. I have a flow that creates. There's an age range that it looks at and it creates leads for individuals that fall into the age range. There's a lot more than that, but trying to simplify it. The lead gets created, and in some instances, I get a unable to lock error message because directly after the lead being created, it gets added to a campaign, an existing campaign. In some instances, we get an error message with that unable to lock. I understand why it's happening, but trying to prevent it from happening. My understanding is that running it, let me back up. It's an auto launch flow. It's like a scheduled auto launch flow. Right after the lead gets created, that's when the error message occurs when it's trying to add it to the campaign member. I've added in a delay, but unfortunately, there isn't a way that I know of to shorten the delay. The shortest that I can make it is for 1 minute. I don't think that I can run it asynchronously because of the way the flow was created, being an auto launch flow. So I'm looking for other solutions.
So without knowing too much about all of the flows, because like what you're really talking about is a new orchestration, right? And yeah, Mike, you can make the delay 0 minutes. You could also segregate the two flows so that they complete without a timer. So like send the lead creation an event to your platform events and then have something else listening to the platform events instead of tagging to the commit.
So it's all one flow.
Right, but you might still have to separate because they're all running in, like the context is still there, right? So you might have to then separate them or make them a subflow or make or basically allow step 1 to commit so that step 2 can actually execute, because the record lock is holding you back there, right? Because there must be a loop back to the lead or a loop back to the contact member that's waiting for something else, and so it's freezing that whole connection. So maybe more detail necessary. So lead gets created. After the lead is created, you're then adding the lead to a campaign for follow-up via membership. Is that right?
Correct.
And
Directly afterwards.
And it was working before or wasn't working before? Like what caused it to fail?
No, it works.
Yeah.
And I think what it is when there are multiple records that are getting created, as it's adding one, it's trying to add another.
Yep.
But it does work. And it just fails sometimes, I guess you could say.
Yep. And it has to do with the bulk, and it has to do with like the campaign record itself being updated by the memberships being added. So like it's very similar to what Christy, you were talking about with your son about like the approval workflow, and it's just handling things in a way that you don't have as much control about as you need. Michael, you responded really quickly. Did you have another idea?
Platform event. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the other
Sorry, go ahead.
way we have an OR component that sometimes we throw in a flow to help break up a transaction. It is literally basically an empty OR component.
And that's because the execution like effectively releases the commit to the OR component, right?
Yeah, and then it moves on in the next step, and we
Yeah.
can work.
Oh, Linda, you and your OR components.
I didn't. This is not mine. Somebody else did this.
No, that's okay.
It's in our org. This is not me.
You know,
I've been trying to redo all my org components as Lightning. Web
Do-
components.
Do we want to get Harish's question real quick, and then we can?
Yeah. And Jay, yours was posted as part of that comment to Steve. It was just question 2 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So let's get that bubbled back up and try to have some exchange on that. That's a good idea, Joy. Let's jump over to Harish. And in the meantime, we'll try to get some ideas out to you, Jay.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks, Jay. Hey, Jay, we published yesterday. He was giving me a hard time on the Halloween meeting about our podcast dropping, and I was like, we published yesterday.
All
right, Harish.
Yeah, I got 2 questions. I'm not sure if we'll have enough time.
We'll do our
but
best.
Let me give it a shot. All right. So the first one is what we're trying to achieve here is to, based off of the campaign members, right? When the campaign member records are created, there could be multiple campaigns that they could be associated with, right? We would like to update the specific contact or lead records by what was the first campaign association date and the name of that campaign, so that we could use on MCAE to use those metrics and sense other related emails. So that's the requirement. And the way we tried achieving is through a record triggered flow. So whenever a campaign member record is created, we are checking if there's a lead ID or the contact ID. And if there's a campaign first association date that's being populated, then we tried running the flow, but we ran into an issue like because they could be associated to multiple campaigns at the same time.
Yep.
So
You just want the first though.
Yes.
But again, same problem, right? If you're signing it to multiple, I'm sorry, yeah. Like, how do you know what the first one is? Sorry, Michael. Yeah.
So, I mean, we didn't know that if there's the same timestamp, but we are okay to use either one of it.
So you're not so concerned about the first, just one of the first.
If it's the same timestamp, then it could be one of those.
Okay.
Sounds like a simple Dolores.
DLRS could help with that, couldn't it?
We tried that, but since with the DLRS it can't, we were not able to look at the campaign member record and then populate either the contact or lead record with those fields.
What do you mean you weren't able? In what way weren't you able? Because I know this can be done.
Probably triggering on membership versus a scheduled at the contact to just go find the most recent? Is that what you were suggesting, Michael?
No, like the date I can pick it up, but I also want the name of the campaign.
You can do it, Dolores, with if you set the calculation type to concatenate, you can have it fill your target field with the name of the campaign.
So
I feel like
Since I'm-
Michael's got these instructions in his back pocket somewhere.
I definitely do. I'm very conscious of the time. So Harish, if you want to
Okay.
reach out to me directly, I'm happy to jump on I could even do it now if you want to jump on a Zoom right after this call.
We'd love to
that'll
see
be
this
great.
exchange in success so that anybody who watches knows how it goes.
Right, so if we can get the challenge popped up in the success community and then the solution also, that'd be super duper, and we can revisit next time. Thanks, everybody. It's been a great call.
Yeah, what started out as no questions turned into 1,000,000 questions. So
I think y'all always do that, right? We always fill up the hour, and I'm so excited. Squire, I need to know where you got that hat, and I'm so glad I got to see the bucket hat that Joy talked about on the podcast. So
Yeah. Let me just tell you, like, I can hear everything really well. It's crazy. I feel like I have elephant ears. It's a hat.
and literally, Squire has elephant ears on his hat.
yeah.
So Michael and Harish, maybe you've exchanged your DMs to like make a connection, but good luck to everybody, and we'll see you all in what was the date, Squire? November what?
Would be the 21st.
November 21st. So we'll see you all right before US Thanksgiving. Have a great Friday,
you.
friends.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye all.